let's go. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, Pwamps. Hey, Pwamps.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Pwamps.
Hey everybody, it's time again for the Pwamps Show, and what a weekend we had in the sports world. The NFL had a full slate of games, and if you stayed up last night to watch Sunday Night Football between the Bills and the Ravens, what a treat you were handed. What a game it was. College football, another kind of predictable week, but there were a couple upsets sprinkled in there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, we turn to the AP Top 25 poll that just dropped a little while ago. Here are the top 5. Number 1 is Ohio State. They won 70-0 over Grambling State at the Horseshoe. 2 is Penn State in Happy Valley. They beat FIU, another good win for them to stay at 2-0. 3, LSU, the Tigers. They are now top 5 team, baby, and looking good. 4, who do we have? It's the Oregon Ducks, the third Big Ten team in the top 5. They are at number 4. And number 5, the Miami Hurricanes, led by Carson Beck. And Carson Beck has given us some Georgia flashbacks from when he was the starting quarterback just last year. Another big thing to point out, USF, South Florida, they join the top 25 after 2 straight top 25 wins. They were able to take down Boise State at home, Maddox Madsen. Then this week, took down Florida. Huge win for South Florida. They're now number 18 in the top 25 rankings. Now, we jump to Major League Baseball. We've got some tight things happening. These pennant races are getting really tight. The wild card is getting really tight in the American League and the National League, and we've got some tight division races as well. Now, we look at the U.S. Open. Tennis, the world of tennis. It kind of just came to its season conclusion. The majors are now done for this year. All eyes are now waiting on the tennis world for the Australian Open next year in the majors to get going again. What ended up happening? Well, Saturday we had the women's final. Aryna Sabalenka, she was the 1 seed. She was taking on Amanda Anisimova, the 8 seed out of the U.S. It was a nice little match. First thing, Sabalenka wins the first set. Amanda came back, took it really tight in the second set. But Sabalenka pulls away. She goes back-to-back and wins the Women's U.S. Open final once again. On the men's side, it was Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. People love watching these two guys compete. They've been the rivalry that we've really been seeing since it was Djokovic and Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray. Since those 4, these are the 2 guys that have really stood out now on the men's tennis side, and they were at it again. First things first. What a great match this was. Goes 4 sets. Carlos Alcaraz, they were 1 set apiece. Then Carlos turned it on. Carlos Alcaraz wins the men's U.S. Open final. At the end of the match, he actually made a little joke and said, "Jannik, I've seen more of you than I have my own family." That kind of made me laugh a little bit. I thought that was kind of entertaining. But Carlos Alcaraz, your U.S. Open men's champion. Aryna Sabalenka, your women's champion of the U.S. Open. With that being said, it's time to dive in to the NFL. All right, everyone, we are ready to talk about the NFL, and we've got some helmets on the board. I know they looked a little scrambled, like little scrambled eggs. What's going on back there? I'm going to tell you what's happening right now. So, we've got 4 things on this board. First, we've got our Monday Night Football game. That is on the top. On the right, we've got our teams that all have won this week. The top row, all the way across, is teams that have surprised me. Even if they lost, they surprised me. Now on the left, it's all the teams that lost this week. They start the season 0-1, and they are badly going to be looking for a win in week 2. If you go 0-2, your chances of making the postseason really take a big hit. With that being said, let's get started and let's look at what we've got on the right side of the board. We start out the LA Chargers. Major win Friday night in Brazil against the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Herbert was phenomenal. The offense looked great. And guess what? The Chargers were in charge the entire game. Chargers on the board first. Then we've got the Buffalo Bills. That Sunday night football game, folks, 41-40. Josh Allen, in my opinion, best 2-minute drill quarterback in the NFL right now. He has such command of that offense. It's impressive to watch. This was a great game. No team, no game has ever ended 41-40. This game did. The Bills looked great. They're on this board here, right there. Now we move to third, the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, I'll tell you, I doubted you. I did. I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people doubted the Colts in general this year. They surprised everybody. They came out and they shellacked the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. What in the world happened to the Dolphins? Daniel Jones did. I guess all it took was Daniel Jones getting out of New York. I guess all it took for the Steelers was Aaron Rodgers getting out of New York. Colts look good. Keep an eye out for them this season. The Green Bay Packers, they're fourth. First of all, they've got a major advantage. When you're playing your home games at Lambeau Field, that's a tough thing in its own right. Packers also, you've got Jordan Love playing as great as he did. The defense, Micah Parsons immediately making an impact. It's tough to compete with that, and the Lions could get nothing going. Jared Goff was shut down. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was kind of isolated. Sam Laporta played a decent game. They're going to look for more out of the offense, though, next week. But the Packers, they really impressed me. Now, we go to the left side of the board. The Baltimore Ravens. They were on the opposite end that you want to be on in a 41-40 ball game. But they looked great. Lamar Jackson was in MVP form. He was getting MVP chance in Buffalo. Derrick Henry was phenomenal until, he got the scoots. He took a cough drop, coughed up the ball, and it was at a costly time. Ravens came out on the wrong end of this one on Sunday Night Football, but I still have them here because they were really impressive. Then we got the New York Jets. Justin Fields, man, you played well. The Jets' entire team played well. Sauce Gardner making plays on the defensive end. The Jets are not to be slept on now, folks. They let people know they are here, and they've got a big test in Week 2 against the Bills with another chance to prove just that. I've got the Jets, though, right here on this board. Then we've got the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward. Titans offense looked poised. They looked composed, taking on the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix kind of struggled, but that was partially because the Titans defense played well. Kept him isolated. Titans, look out. It was fun to watch. AFC South team, be on the lookout. Lastly, the Cleveland Browns. A lot of people have counted the Browns out, myself included. Their defense has been legit for a very long time, and now, once again, they have proven that. Myles Garrett, this team can shut down the best of NFL offenses. You think of the Bengals, you've got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, Mike Gesicki. They've added Noah Fant. They held the Bengals to 17 points. They held the Bengals to negative 18 yards in the fourth quarter. That's an astounding number when you think of the players the Bengals have on the offensive side. This Browns defense is for real. If Joe Flacco can get it going a little more, if David Njoku can get it going a little more, look out, because the Browns could surprise some people, folks. Also, last thing, Monday Night Football. A couple teams aren't on this board yet, and that's why. The Minnesota Vikings, they are traveling to take on the Chicago Bears tonight. We finally get to see J.J. McCarthy back in action. His first NFL start. Remember, he played college ball at Michigan. He makes his first pro start tonight. It's a tall task. You go into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. A lot of eyes are on Caleb Williams and this Bears team. They've said they've made a lot of adjustments, got a lot of new talent this offseason. Now we get to see that with our own eyes. Tonight, Vikings at Bears on Monday Night Football. Take one last look. My 4 surprise teams that won games. My 4 surprise teams that even with a loss, in my opinion, they stood tall. Now, let's look at the Week 2 matchups. All right, everybody, let's look at Week 2 of the NFL season. Here we go. It all starts with the debut of our Thursday Night Football helmet. And who do we have on Thursday night? We've got the Washington Commanders, 1-0. Big win last week for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. They're traveling to Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Packers had that big win over the Detroit Lions. They controlled the game the entire time. The Lions and Jared Goff could get nothing going. This is going to be one to watch on Thursday night on Prime Video, 8:15, Commanders at Packers. Now, we move to Sunday, 1 o'clock. The 1 o'clock slate, it's the slate that has the most amount of games at once. Let's see who we got. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to be traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals at Paul Brown Stadium. Big game. Jaguars played really well last week. They got to 1-0. Bengals did not. They kind of, for me, took, one step forward, 2 steps back. Here's why. Offense had 2 good drives to get some points on the board. Other than that, they really stalled out. You saw some signs. The defense played a lot better than some other people thought they would. They showed some promise, made some key stops, couple big turnovers for the defense. A lot of questions, though. These fans in Cincinnati, they are really hoping the Bengals deliver a big home game for them against the Jags. Jags-Bengals, 1 o'clock. Trevor Lawrence is playing great for the Jaguars. That is going to be a fun one. Now we've got the LA Rams, Tennessee Titans. Rams are 1-0. Big win over the Texans at SoFi Stadium for their home opener. Matthew Stafford looked good. Puka Nacua, he played really well. Titans, they played well. Cam Ward impressed a lot of people. They came up just short against the Broncos. They're finally ready for their home opener. Big game. Rams, Titans, 1 o'clock Sunday. Now, big one here. Browns, Ravens. Both teams in the AFC North, they're 0-1. Like I said earlier, you don't want to fall to 0-2. Major game here. Obviously, the Ravens going into this game are going to be heavily favored, but the Browns defense, we saw what they did to the Bengals. Can they slow down Lamar Jackson? Can they slow down Derrick Henry? Can they slow down Zay Flowers? We're going to find out. Sunday, 1 o'clock, AFC North matchup. Browns at the Ravens. Going to be a good one. Now we move to the top here. Buffalo Bills, just following the Baltimore Ravens. The Bills got that win. They are 1-0. They're taking on the New York Jets. Justin Fields and the Jets, they impressed a lot of people, surprised a lot of people. Now, huge test here. Jets start the season with their second home game in a row. They're back at MetLife Stadium. They took it all the way to the wire against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Boswell hit a game winner. The Jets, they may not be pretenders, folks. They might be good, and they get to prove it right here with a big test against an AFC favorite in the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen and company. That's a big one Sunday, 1 o'clock. Now we get to this next one, okay? AFC East, there's the 2 there. You've got 2 more here in the AFC East. New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Tua, Tyreek Hill. These guys are going to be looking for a bit of redemption after the poor performance in Week 1. We still don't know the status of Jalen Waddle. He was injured in that game against the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of momentum, though. Patriots didn't look too bad. Dolphins just really have got to get off the schneid. Big game. Both teams 0-1. Again, you're trying to avoid that 0-2 start. That'll be a fun one. Patriots, Dolphins, 1 o'clock Sunday. Who we got next? Big game here. San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. We're not going to know the status of George Kittle. He left early in their previous game. New Orleans Saints, it is Spencer Rattler. He had a decent showing last week, but there's still a lot of question marks. Can the Saints put any points together on the offensive side? Can they make a couple stops here, put some pressure on the Niners? We're going to find out Sunday at 1. Now, big game here, division rivalry game. Russell Wilson leading the New York Giants into Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys defense still trying to find a couple of ways to adjust to life without Micah Parsons. Offense looked good though. Dak Prescott looked good. CeeDee Lamb looked really good. Giants, they've got to get some things going. Not moving the ball well their last game. This is a tough test. The Cowboy fans are going to come ready to rock the stadium. Tough test for the New York Giants. That is 1 o'clock on Sunday. So we head to the left side of the board. Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions. Well, we don't know if the Bears are going to be 1-0 and 0 or 0-1 going into this game, but we do know the Detroit Lions are 0-1, and it's an ugly 0-1 at that. Packers embarrassed them, straight up. It was like taking a Hot Wheel fresh out of the box. You pull it out of the box and a wheel falls off your first time holding it. That is what it was like. Okay, Lions had nothing going. Absolutely nothing going, and the Packers had it all going. Major moment here. Lions fans are going to be rowdy. They're going to be wanting to see a little turnaround. Dan Campbell, known for bringing that energy, getting the guys ready to go. Big test here, though. Caleb Williams, like I said, the Bears have said they've upgraded this team in the offseason. We're going to find out tonight when they play the Vikings, but we're also going to find out more as this season goes on and as we get to week 2 in this matchup between the Bears at the Lions, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Then we've got the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold adjusting to life as the starting QB in Seattle. They're traveling to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers looked good. Aaron Rodgers turned back the clock, looked like he was back on the Packers. TJ Watt and the Steelers defense played well. This is a good Steelers team, guys. Going to be a great game. Seahawks desperately needing a win, and the Steelers would love to get to 2-0. Mike Tomlin would love that. Let's find out if that happens Sunday at 1. Now, we move on to our 4 o'clock window. Kicking things off, it's the Broncos and the Colts. Broncos, 1-0, but it wasn't a pretty 1-0. They defeated the Tennessee Titans. Bo Nix not having one of his best starts last season was phenomenal. Kind of a rusty start. We're going to say he's just shaking off the rust. You're taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who right now are the talk of the NFL. Daniel Jones is the talk of the NFL. Colts scored on every possession they had the football in their win over the Dolphins. Think about that for a second. That is a crazy little statistic. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Colts trying to get to 2-0. Broncos trying to get to 2-0. That'll be a battle. 4:05 in our 4 o'clock window. Now we've got our next game. Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. What do we got to say about this one? Kyler Murray looked good for the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked really good. A lot of promising signs for the Cardinals. Panthers, they struggled. Like I said, last year, they finished the season kind of on a high. Bryce Young was showing some poise. It didn't translate to this first game of the year for the Panthers. They're going to look to get that back. They're 0-1. You want to avoid 0-2. Cardinals looking to go 2-0 and make a little early statement this season in the NFC West. Now, we move to our next game. It's the headlining game of this week, without a doubt. It's a rematch of the Super Bowl. It's the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Gayha Field at Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, ready to have a big game for the Chiefs. So, I'm sorry, Taylor Swift's not on the team, my bad. We've got the Eagles, we've got the Chiefs. Eagles looked great to start the season against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys played well, but the Eagles made it happen. Jalen Hurts played well. Saquon Barkley played well. A guy I tell you, he's a tank. Dallas Goedert. What a tight end he is. He kind of flies under the radar. Good player for the Eagles. This is a major game. Chiefs are trying to avoid 0-2 like the plague. Major game, 4:25 on Sunday. Now, we get to Sunday Night Football. J.J. McCarthy. He goes from Monday Night Football to Sunday Night Football. They're going to host the Atlanta Falcons. Going to be a big game for both these teams. Falcons sitting at 0-1. They could have knocked off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, by the way, in their first game. Came up just short. Baker Mayfield got hot. Emeka Egbuka, he started playing well for the Buccaneers. Former Buckeye, and guess what? These two are just barely flipped. Buccaneers are 1-0. Falcons are 0-1. Could have easily flipped, but this is a huge game between the Vikings and the Falcons, nonetheless. That is Sunday Night Football. Now, we go to Monday. You're probably thinking, why are there still 2 games on Monday night? It's because we've got a Monday night doubleheader in week 2 of the season. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud and the guys, they look sluggish. They looked like Shrek hanging out in his swamp, eating some waffles with Donkey. They couldn't get up, could not get the offense going. Defense didn't do much to help either. Low scoring affair with the Rams. Buccaneers put up some points. And this is going to be a good game. Buccaneers 1-0, Texans 0-1. Big moment for the Texans and their fans, hoping for a win in their home opener. Then 10 o'clock, again, you're putting on your pajamas. You're sitting by the fire. We're getting close to winter, folks. Fall is here. It's kind of crazy. The Chargers traveling to Vegas to take on the Raiders. 2 teams that are 1-0 in the AFC West. Reminder, the Chiefs, for the first time, are the only team in the AFC West in a long time to be by themselves in the cellar at 0-1. Think about that. That's pretty crazy. Now, Chargers, Raiders. Justin Herbert, he was the talk of the league on Friday night with how great he played in Brazil against the Chiefs. Keenan Allen had a touchdown reception. He looked great, really helped spread the field for the Chargers. The Raiders, though, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith looked good. Ashton Genty looked good, the rookie out of Boise State, in his first pro start at running back for the Raiders. Not to mention, Max Crosby and the Raiders defense showed up as well. This is a battle in the AFC West. It's at 10 o'clock on Monday night. You don't want to miss it. And folks, that is what week 2 of the NFL season looks like. It's going to be a fun one. All right, everybody, let's get started with some college football. On my right, we've got the Pwamps featured 4. On my left, we've got the other games you've got to keep an eye on this Saturday. Let's get started. First, Washington State. They're 2-0 out of the Pac-12. They are traveling to take on the Mean Green of North Texas out of the American. Fun little game here. Both teams sitting at 2-0. One of these teams going to go to 3-0. Both high-powered offenses. Going to be a fun one early on. Keep your eye on it. Washington State, North Texas. Second game of the day. We've got the Liberty Flames traveling to take on the Bowling Green Falcons, or BG as many call them, out of the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. Both these teams at 1-1. They need wins badly. Next couple weeks, schedule gets a lot tougher for both of these schools. Big game to watch. Liberty, Bowling Green. Keep your eye on it. Now, USF, here they are. They enter the top 25 after 2 weeks of wins and 2 weeks of wins over top 25 opponents. Keep that in mind. They're traveling to take on the Miami Hurricanes. Hurricanes are 5th ranked right now in the top 25. USF's number 18. Carson Beck might have something to say about letting USF come into town and getting their 3rd straight win over a top 25. That is a game you don't want to miss. 4:30 on the CW network, folks. XOXO Gossip Girl, we're back to those days. USF, Miami, that is the 3rd game of the featured 4. We head to the 4th. It's the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 2-0 out of the Big Ten, taking on the Cal Golden Bears out of the ACC. Cal used to be in the Pac-12. They're now in the ACC. Both teams 2-0. These are 2 teams usually you don't see at 2-0 or near the top of these conferences. Right now, they're hovering in that area. Going to be a fun one. 10:30. When you're getting your pajamas on, getting tucked into Betty by, this is the game you've got. Minnesota and Cal, both teams 2-0. It'll be a fun one. Now, we look at the left. Mr. Maeva, And the USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley, offenses look better these first 2 games of the year. They are traveling to take on Purdue, the Boilermakers. 2 2-0 teams. USC, Big Ten. Purdue, Big Ten. USC says fight on. Purdue says boiler up. Now, I will point out, USC, they have struggled when traveling cross country to play these other schools. When they play more closer to home on the West Coast, when they did in the Pac-12, when they were in the Pac-12, they had some more wins. It's tougher for them when they make this long trip. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, though, when the Trojans visit the Boilermakers. Big game, 2 2-0 teams. That will be fun to watch. And hey, Purdue, not very often are they at 2-0, particularly in football. Basketball, you see that quite often. Not all the time, though, in football. Now, we go on to a huge one. The Georgia Bulldogs traveling to take on Tennessee. Gunnar Stockton and the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart and his visor ready to go into Tennessee, see if they can hang with the Volunteers. Top 20 matchup. Every time these 2 teams play, it's usually fireworks. It's going to be, again, Georgia, Tennessee. You don't want to miss that one. Now, something a little interesting here. Texas A&M out of the SEC, traveling to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, Notre Dame is only 0-1. It's week 3 of the season. Notre Dame had a week 2 bye week. That is really early. They've had a long while now to chew on that loss to Miami in the first game of the season. They've got another huge test, though, in Texas A&M. Is Texas A&M ready for it? Or the Fighting Irish ready? We're going to find out Saturday. It'll be a good one. Texas A&M, Notre Dame. And then my last one, you've got 2 Mountain West schools. This is a fun one. You've got Air Force. Air Force right now sitting at 1-0. They're another team that had a week 2 bye. Kind of fitting that Notre Dame's right above them. Air Force had that week 2 bye. They're traveling on the road. They're going to be taking on Utah State. This is a big game. One of these 2 teams is going to be in that little top bracket, top region of the Mountain West. Huge game in Utah between Utah State and Air Force. Keep your eyes out for it. Folks, those are the games I want you watching in college football this week. Let's do it. And now, let's head over to talk about Major League Baseball. Let's do it. All right, everybody, it's time to talk Major League Baseball, and we've got our heat map behind us. Here's how it works. The higher you are on this board, the better position you're in to make the postseason. On my right, we've got the American League. On my left, we've got the National League. Let's get into it. Let's start with the American League. Okay, first 3 teams we talk about, they're the current division leaders. You've got the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays are looking really good right now. Bo Bichette hitting the ball out of the park. Vlad Guerrero Jr. bringing in a lot of runs. And the pitching is looking really, really good for the Blue Jays. They currently lead the AL East, but it's tight. Tight with 2 other teams. This could change in position, but the Blue Jays are very comfortable right now getting a postseason spot. They're looking good. Now, we move to the Detroit Tigers, the AL Central. They're leading the division, looking good while doing it. Spencer Torkelson playing really well, leading this team. And I tell you what, Tigers are going to be dangerous in the postseason, folks. They've been one of the hottest teams in baseball over the past couple of seasons. They're going to look to carry that in to the postseason this year. Tigers looking really good, and they are extremely comfortable with the division lead they have right now. Now, it gets a little tighter here. The American League West, the Houston Astros, they're pretty confident in their position. They think they're going to be in the postseason, but the division race is tight. Yes, Josie Altuve, he's crushing balls left and right. He's looking good. The Astros are looking good. The margin, though, for the division, razor thin. Mariners breathing down their necks. Don't forget the Texas Rangers. Corey Seager. They're breathing down the Astros' necks. It's going to be a tight finish. But if you're an Astros fan right now, I still have you on my top tier in the American League. Now, we move to the New York Yankees. They're still in the race for the American League East. Okay? They're 5 games clear in the wild card race, which means they are pretty dang confident, and I'm pretty dang confident the Yankees will be in the postseason. They're looking really good. Aaron Judge has been phenomenal. Cody Bellinger, what a great pickup he was this offseason for the Yankees. Yankees are looking really good. And wouldn't it just be so fitting? Isn't it just perfectly fitting that the Boston Red Sox are only a half game back of the New York Yankees for the second wild card spot right now? Red Sox are looking great. It's really been fun to watch this team grow. One of the younger teams in baseball, they're not playing like it. They're playing like a bunch of veterans out there. Red Sox looking good. They are on my tier 2, but playing really well. Now, we move to the Seattle Mariners. These are the two teams, these next 2 teams that I said are really making it tough on the Astros. Mariners, boy, have they looked good. They're currently sitting right now in a wild card spot, but it's going to be a tight finish because there are still some serious teams out there looking to make a run. Right after that, it's the Texas Rangers. Corey Seager, he's trying to propel these guys into the postseason. It could still happen. It's going to be a tight finish in the division and in the wild card. Now, who's next? The Kansas City Royals. Like we said, the division, probably too far gone. You're chasing the Detroit Tigers. Man, the Tigers have been hot. That's not going to happen most likely. But wild card, not out of the realm of possibility for the Royals. Keep your eye on them. We go to tier 3. 2 teams only by themselves on tier 3. It's the Cleveland Guardians and the Tampa Bay Rays. Both teams still within striking distance in the American League. Some key series coming up this week. They need some wins. Both teams do. Gotta see if they can move up to level 2, maybe even up to tier 1. Might be a little bit of a stretch. Tier 2, very much in play. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, who's that at the bottom? That's the LA Angels. Wait, what? Guys, the Angels are currently sitting 8 games out of the last wild card spot in the American League. You're probably thinking, Philip, come on. Hey, maybe the Angels have some angels in the outfield. Mike Trout, got to do it. Joe Adell has been playing very well. Zach Neto has been playing pretty darn well. If the Angels can put something together, maybe it's a miracle. Maybe the Angels get hot and can somehow climb in to some contention for the last wild card spot in the American League. That's how the American League looks right now. Let's turn to the National League. Here we go. The Milwaukee Brewers. They're atop the National League Central. They have been the past couple months, and boy, have they looked good. Christian Yelich. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He has regained his MVP form from a couple years ago, and he's making sure the Brewers get into the postseason this year. Brewers are looking mighty good. Next on this board is the LA Dodgers. This is tough for me right now. I like the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, okay? Yoshi Yamamoto, I feel bad for the guy. After what happened in the Orioles series this past weekend, 1 out away from a no-hitter. He gives up a home run. Dodgers were up 3-0. They ended up going on and losing that game 4-3. That's a hard night's sleep there for Yoshi. But the Dodgers have had some issues. And that's why this race for the NL West with the Padres is so tight. Yeah, right now the Padres are the second spot in the wild card. These two could flip at any time because the division race is that tight. Then we've got the Phillies. Phillies have looked great. NL East leading team. Kyle Schwarber is hitting bombs. Bryce Harper absolutely raking. We still got to find out what's going on with Trey Turner a little bit. Some questions there, but the Phillies, I tell you, they're looking great. They are probably darn well going to be in the postseason, and they're looking mighty fine while doing it. Now, we move to our Tier 2 here, Chicago Cubs. Cubs are looking great. Another young team who's playing really well. Excuse me, guys, got to straighten out the Mets cap there. There we go. Now it's back. Cubs are looking good. 5 games clear of the next couple wild card teams that are chasing them. Cubs are going to be in the postseason unless you have a monumental collapse with how this team's playing. I don't see it going that way. Cubs are going to be in the postseason. Expect to see them on the TV screens coming October. Padres, Dodgers. We've already talked about it a little bit, but man, Fernando Tatis, Sam Merrill, these guys are playing really well. Manny Machado. I mean, think of the star power on the Padres. They're sitting pretty in the wild card right now. Do they end up taking the NL West? We're going to find out. These two do not play each other anymore in the regular season. Usually you've got a series in there where it's like, hey, we've got 3 games where that's going to decide the division this late in the season. That's not going to happen here with the Dodgers and the Padres. They're done. It's going to come down to who wins games. And that is a fun one to watch. Padres, Dodgers. Fun to follow those two teams as we are in the last month of the regular season. Now, Tier 3, this is where it gets extremely tight. This past weekend, the New York Mets, who currently sit 4 games clear of the 4 teams on Tier 4 of the National League, they played the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark. Reds won 2 out of 3 in that series. So look down here. 4 games clear. Here are your next 4. Who do the Mets have in their next 3 series? Well, they've got their division rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. They've got the San Diego Padres, and they have the Texas Rangers. Those are 3 teams that are really trying to make it into the postseason. They are fighting for their lives right now. Not an easy stretch for the Mets coming up, and that's why these 4 teams are chomping it at the bits. The Giants, they have been on an absolute tear as of late. Pitching's been phenomenal. They're looking like they could potentially be the team that makes a push at the Mets. Wait a minute, there's another team though that could be. It's the team that plays at Great American Ballpark, the Cincinnati Reds. Hunter Green pitched a gem last night. Really pitched well, kept the Reds in that game all night long. Finally, Reds take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They're hanging around. How about the Cardinals? They're hanging around. Whoa, Mets, you think that's it? No. The Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll, they're still hanging around. 4 games, 4.5 games. That is how tight the final spot in the NL wild card is, folks. Serious pressure on the Mets. If the Mets go out there and they execute, they perform, and they win games, hey, they're probably going to end up in the postseason. If they stumble a little bit, and with a tough schedule coming up, if they do trip and fall, you got 4 teams that you're worried about right now who are really hot as September is just getting started. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited. It's September. It's time, and we are heading towards a pennant race, folks. Let's see how it plays out. It's been fun. Hey guys, I just got back from the concession stand. I'm ready to watch this pennant race. It's going to be intense. If you like what you saw, why not do me a favor? Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know who you think is going to make the playoffs. Cheers. I love popcorn.